Hi, friends, and happy Friday to you. Can you believe it's the end of the week? I'm sure you've been very, very busy. We are so thrilled to have you here. Hello, welcome to In the Loop. I know Greg has some great news to share with us today. Welcome to the show. If you're brand new to the show, a big welcome. I'm Winnie Sun, a longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, and longtime Forbes contributor as well, and host of Level Up, which can also be found on NASDAQ. So, you know, I know what you're really excited about is like, what is Greg going to share with us this week? How are you, Greg? How's it going?
I am doing good. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Nibbler. If this is your first time, I'm a longtime tech reporter and reporter for Fox 12 Oregon out here in Portland. And I've got some interesting things to talk about. We're going to be talking about a little bit about travel, some virtual travel. So we've got that, of course. There could be some robot news. All of that coming in on today's episode. So lots of stuff to talk about. It's always great to be here of course, with Winnie, and for all of you tuning in, and on all the different platforms that we're on and that we're streaming on. We appreciate your comments, your feedback. And actually, I have a tech question as a tech person, a tech question for somebody out there. If there's anybody that works for Blackmagic, in case anybody doesn't know, they make video components and cameras and things like that. I'm having an issue with my capture card and I cannot figure it out. So I am putting this out there. If somebody from Blackmagic can get a hold of me, that would be great. But that's it. Otherwise, my laptop cam's not too bad, but my regular setup's a little bit better. So putting that out there for help. But otherwise, doing pretty good. Winnie, I'm excited to be here with you, to be doing the show and everything we get to talk about.
I know, Greg. Can you believe it's already Thanksgiving next week? The time is flying by. Are you ready? Like, are you going to be cooking? I'm just curious.
I'm not, thankfully. Nope. I'm going to some family. I've got 2 Thanksgivings that I'm going to. So I think at least maybe 3. I can't even remember. Oh, wow. I'm kind of along for the ride this year. So I get to just enjoy what everybody else is making.
Oh, amazing. Okay, good. With that note, for some of you who are cooking or preparing, or in my case, I'm going to be ordering some and making some, I've got some news for you as well. But before we go into Greg, we like to kind of give you an update on what the market's showing. It hasn't closed yet. Yes. We've got a few more hours to go, but currently the Dow is down just 12 points, so it's not too bad. NASDAQ is up 18 points, so we like that. And the S&P 500 is up over 6 points as well. So, Greg, stocks continue to see, unfortunately, a slight decline today, but get this. We're going to be on track for the 3rd consecutive week of gains. In fact, November has been pretty great. In fact, they're calling it a November rally now. The gains have been triggered by some things that we like and we're hoping to continue, and that is favorable U.S. inflation data. And this is giving us hopes that the worst of inflation is over, and hopefully that the Federal Reserve's tough stance on rate policy and those really hefty rate hikes, hopefully more of them are behind us. Now, I've been reading a lot saying that we probably will still continue to see some increases in rates, but hopefully the worst is behind us. Now, November has been a great month, like I talked about. We're calling this a rally. The S&P 500 now has posted over a 7.5% increase. The Dow is also up over 5.7%, and the NASDAQ up over 9.7%. So we're happy to hear that. All right, Greg, we talked about Thanksgiving. And so I figured since we're going into next week, now I know Greg has multiple Thanksgivings that he's attending. I'm guessing some of them are family Thanksgiving and some of them are Friendsgiving. But for those of you who are tuning in and you're not as fortunate as Greg, you might be in my boat where we're doing a little bit of cooking, a little bit of going and ordering food. Well, you may have noticed that turkey prices have seen a significant drop as we're going into Thanksgiving. So this is some good news. In fact, I want to share with you. So most turkeys, I guess, for like that 10 to 15 pound average size turkey, they dropped by 13%. In fact, last month. in prices. So now turkeys they're saying there's been a dramatic 29% slump last month compared to actually in October compared to a year ago. This is according to a report that came out recently on the price of Thanksgiving food. I figured this was good news because, for a long time when Greg and I have been doing this show the last like year and a half, I kept saying how things had got more expensive. You remember, Greg, last year turkeys were really pricey.
Yeah, it was. I'm actually surprised. I didn't even expect you to say that right now. I was bracing for record high, like they're going to be way more expensive. Yeah, that's actually good news. I feel like that's kind of a surprising thing for a Thanksgiving, that it's going to be lower prices. That's great.
Yeah, so the turkey's going to be cheaper, and sweet potatoes have dropped a lot as well. But some areas that actually are probably going to still be somewhat more expensive are going to be places, things like canned cranberries and canned pumpkins and green beans and even potatoes. So it's interesting because I saw a report that came out this week talked about the least popular dishes on the Thanksgiving table. So I figure for those of you who are maybe like still last minute preparing, these are areas that you probably want to save your money on. So I read that nobody really likes cranberry sauce. So don't do that. Nobody really likes candy yams, which honestly, I don't even know what candy yams are. And then the last thing people don't like, they don't like the green bean casserole.
Oh,
So if you're gonna serve green beans, make sure they don't make the casserole thing because they're saying that these things are all mushy and nobody likes baby food/food.
so for me, I don't know what the candied yams are either, really. But a green bean casserole, I agree. I'm not a green bean person, but cranberry, I do like the cranberry sauce.
Do you like the canned or do you like the fresh? Because people are saying, based on that report I was seeing this week, they said, okay, we don't mind it if it's maybe fresh, but if it comes on a can, it's like in that cylindrical
Yeah, the big
shape. Scrap.
gelatinous. I like both. I'll go for it. I still like the canned stuff. I just like cranberry in general, so I'm gonna, that's fine. Just bring one can and then I'll take care of that. I'll eat that, but the rest of it I get. But I didn't realize that many people hated cranberry. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, actually, it was the last one. I think it was like 20 something percent. But people don't
Wow.
like cranberry. Yeah, I'm indifferent. I think it's fine. I mean, I kind of associate with Thanksgiving, so I kind of
Uh-huh.
like it's cool. Okay, and speaking of Thanksgiving, I wanted to share this other story. Actually, a few other stories for you, and the same thing because I think it's just fun. We're celebrating going up to Thanksgiving. Maybe you're still on the fence of what you're going to do for Thanksgiving and you're like wondering if you want to spend a bunch of money, but you still like feel like you maybe kind of you're debating whether to go full on Thanksgiving or go get Chinese food takeout. Let me just say there's an option that could be sort of in the middle that could be cost effective for your family. So how about this idea? How about celebrating Thanksgiving but Target style? Yes, Target, like Walmart, Target, that Target. In fact, Target is doing an entire Thanksgiving feast that serves four people, believe it or not, for under $25. This is going
Wow.
to include a turkey that's less than $1 a pound, sides and desserts for under $5. They're saying this is going to include a 10-pound turkey, potatoes, green beans, like cream of mushroom sauce, and Greg's ocean spray jellied cranberry sauce, stuffing, and like Heinz turkey gravy and all that stuff. Less than $25. They're actually letting customers order this online for in-store pickup, curbside pickup, or even delivery through their option to ship. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, $25 to feed a family of four.
Yeah,
That's like
that's a really good deal. I'm kind of surprised. I don't really know. I mean, I'd love to see like how it actually looks like in real life, but that's a good deal.
That's a really good deal. I guess I'm just really curious of what this looks like. I almost feel like I need to go get this thing. But yeah, so Target, great job, Target. I'm hopefully it'll help a lot of families out. But
Yeah.
if not, here's another thing, Greg. And when I read this, I'm like, I gotta share this with Greg on the show. And this is a Thanksgiving pizza. Did you know that this is a thing? Yes,
No.
indeed. In fact, a survey from last autumn showed that 1/3 of Gen Zers actually prefer pizza over turkey for their Friendsgiving celebrations. Who are
Prefer
these
pizza
people?
over turkey. I mean, look, I like pizza. Don't get me wrong, but it's Thanksgiving. I want some turkey.
Exactly, right? I love pizza too. I love
Yeah.
pizza all the time, even for breakfast. But
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I feel like that's just like no. But anyway, DiGiorno is introducing a limited edition Thanksgiving pizza that combines turkey, pizza, sides, all in one pie. So
Uh,
this Thanksgiving pizza is going to feature a Detroit style crust loaded with turkey, gravy, sweet potatoes, cranberries, green beans, two types of cheese, and crispy onions. Ugh. Um, sorry. Maybe it's delicious. Maybe it's delicious. You let me know what you think about this. But yeah, this pizza, I guess it's exclusively for sale on the Shop the Giorno website. I guess every Wednesday from November 1st to November 22nd. Um, so you got one more
yeah.
Wednesday left.
I mean, I'd try a bite of it just to say I did it. But I don't know. That's too many things stuffed into a pizza.
One pizza. It's $11.23 though, so it's cheaper than your whole Target meal for four people.
That's
But I don't know
true.
how many people one pizza will feed. I don't think it's gonna feed four people. But yeah, so it's first come first serve. So I guess it's like this limited release. So maybe if you really want this turkey pizza, you're gonna be like on the computer on Wednesday waiting for it to pop on the screen. So I guess they previously like this is like the journal thing. They do like some interesting themed pizzas. They've done this thing called a cry pie, which is loaded with onions and other things like that. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a thing there.
I mean,
Turkey
I would
is
try it.
decent.
So if
I feel
somebody were to
like we
get this,
should,
yeah, I
right?
would try a bite of it. But I don't know. Green beans in again, that's my thing about green beans though. So I'm like, that might be enough to keep me out of
Mushy
this.
green beans. See, green beans can be so good. For those of you who are watching, I'm curious to see how you feel about green beans because, like, like I will tell you, in an Asian household, we make green beans taste so amazing. It's like crazy. If you've ever gone to a Chinese restaurant, order green beans and like it'll blow your mind. It's so good. So then when I see this like canned green bean mush, I'm just like poor green beans are sacrificed in this dish. So
See, and
like,
that's what I associate the green beans with too. Is the mushy canned
yeah.
stuff cooked something that's cooked really well into something that would be a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay, well, I got one last story, and I'm going to throw the baton over to you,
Okay.
Greg. And I think this is a big one because I even saw an article about this on the front page of CNBC today. But this is a story that sort of been following, and this is, about tipping. And one of the things they said is DoorDash is going to have this new app screen that's going to warn customers here in the United States and also in parts of Canada that if you don't tip, you might get a delay in your food. And this is just going to be a thing. So, like, I mean, I think
Ooh.
tipping, you should tip. I think if, people are providing a service and dropping off your food, but like, that's part of the service that you're, doing for it. But some people just don't tip. And the other thing is they're saying is not just DoorDash's efforts to get people to tip to be able to give this money to their hardworking drivers, but I also read an article today saying that used to be you would tip for good service, and now they're saying that you tip just to get service because if you don't tip, you may get a worse experience of how your food is prepared, how it's brought to your table, and all this stuff now. So,
Huh.
yeah.
I I mean, I also believe in tipping for service. Somebody's doing a job. I mean, and especially here, in the United States. I know in some other countries that's not how it works, but here that's what you do. You tip. But that seems a little bit more like just extortion than it does anything else. Like, I mean, what they're threatening your food if you don't. So then do you have to keep like upping your tip to try to make sure that you get your food on time? I don't know. That seems a little bit. That seems off.
Yeah, it is off now. A lot of times you'll be, even when you go order for pickup now and you're using services, they ask you whether or not you want to tip. So you can always wonder, like, what will it do if I don't tip? And
Right.
it's unfortunate that we have to think that way, but it used to be like if you got service, you would tip, and you got an extraordinary service, you would tip very, very generously. But
Yeah.
I guess from what I've been reading, that trend or that culture is shifting of like, well, if you don't, then we'll just give you less. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That seems kind of wrong. If you're ordering and you're paying for the food, you're paying for the delivery. yes, you should tip. But and then it's so how much do you tip? What's the amount? And then they're gonna hold your food from you. That seems weird.
I don't know, but I see Cross Expire joining us on YouTube Live, and so definitely curious to see his thoughts on these stores. But Greg, that's what I've got so far. That's sort of my like Thanksgiving roundup for you, giving something about turkey and then thinking about tipping. And on next week, I'm gonna definitely talk more about like Black Friday and how to capitalize on those holiday deals. But what do you have for us, Greg?
Yeah, so I've got a few things, not necessarily Thanksgiving oriented, but the first one though is something that, as an Android user, as a person who uses Android phones, this is a big deal for us. So for you iPhone users who are used to seeing the green bubble of shame, as I've heard it called, pop up when somebody with an Android phone is texting you, that's going to be going away because Apple has finally agreed to support the universal system called RCS, which is basically it's a protocol for sending messages. And we don't have to get too far into it, but that is what Apple has refused to do for a very long time. And now they have said it's going to happen. They're going to start supporting it, which means the green bubble is going to go away. It's not only that, but also if you've ever noticed the big issue of sending photos or videos back and forth between iPhone and Android, a lot of times it's when Android tries to send it to iPhone. That issue should go away with this as well, because I've had this problem before where you send something and then it gets scaled down. And that's because it's working on two different kinds of systems. That's going to fix this too. Apple is going to get rid of the green bubble of shame. That's the big news right there for me.
But Greg, what does that mean? Like, because, like when people set up a group text and what happens is the person who comes from, if there's an Android user, all of a sudden it doesn't work on iMessage. Does it mean the green bubble is going away and this text will show up on iMessage, or is that still a conundrum?
So it's a little bit up for debate on the iMessage thing, just how Apple is going to do that. So I'm looking here right now, and this just came out, so I'm still learning about it too. Group messaging could become platform agnostic, so it's possible that could go away as well. What it does mean, like here's what RCS supports. Allows you to do 250,000 characters at once. It has all these different options on there. It's a much better texting platform. Will Apple allow that, for as far as the group thing? I don't know yet. I don't know when it comes to the iMessage part of it, but they can. It means that they're adopting the actual protocol that all Android phones use, and that they're joining the rest of the world outside of Apple in that aspect, so it can be supported. Whether Apple will let something like that happen, I don't know. Maybe they'll still keep some people out of specific group things that are just within Apple, but they can support it now. So if you have like a group text chain going, it's going to work. And if you're using iMessage for something like that, that can work.
Cool.
Yeah, well, it's good.
I'm excited. This is a good thing. Yeah, I mean, includes texting.
I know for all Apple users, they're like, all right, neat. For Android users, it's big. But it's a more secure profile. More secure way to send stuff as well. So it's basically the general story here is, how sometimes Apple doesn't work with Windows stuff and all of that, and you always have these battles between different platforms. This is something where everybody's saying like, all right, we'll all work together and it'll make it better for everybody.
Cool.
It's a good thing.
We'll take it.
All right, let's move on from that. Let's go in and talk about how about some robots? We'll switch it up. Let's talk about robots. So this is a new development in the creation of a robot hand. Now, we've had a lot of stories clearly on here about robots, and you're seeing it more and more, specifically in manufacturing situations. Amazon's using them. A lot of places are using them. This is something that could change up how those robots are actually, how they're actually handling things, how they're actually working with different things in the manufacturing plant. So this is coming from MIT. This is a 3D printed robotic hand. Cool. And there it is. So you're taking a look right there and you look at that. It's almost like it's got tendons. It's got all of this wiring to it. It's got a lot of different ways that it can hold. It looks quite honestly like a real hand. like a human hand. And the reason this is such a big deal is it's from MIT. It's a company called Inkbit. It's a spin-off out of MIT, and it uses this 3D inkjet printing technique that lets them do this in a much more efficient, quicker way. And that's something that could really bring this kind of robotics into a more of a mass situation, a mass production situation, where you're going to see it more than just, taking a look right here. That's a great example. Looking at, that's what it's really mimicking what an actual human hand could be. And then they're showcasing what some other stuff you could do as well, where you could create other kinds of things. Like if you talked about organ replacement or 3D printing, things like that, this is something else this is the start of that kind of stuff. Really bio inspired organs, things for robots, or even down the road, perhaps something for humans. So that's really exciting, seeing where 3D printing is going and seeing how they're creating this and what it could do. I think it will be a little while till we see the robot with the actual human hand, or, a Luke Skywalker hand going around, but we're getting there. And 3D printing is going to be one of the ways that this is going to be really, you're going to be able to mass produce these kinds of things. It's pretty exciting stuff.
It is really exciting. To be honest with you, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it looks like a hand, like just, the at least internal structure of a hand.
Mhm.
And from my standpoint, I'm thinking with all that's been developed so far with robots and the ones that you've shown us on the show, I'm
Mhm.
actually surprised that this hasn't been done already, because it would feel like to get all the internal, like looks like arteries and tendons, like this would have been in the design earlier. But it's cool. It just seems like if it's more cost effective and it can give you, I guess, more of an accurate grip,
Yeah.
that seems great. Like we can start printing these at home.
Yeah. Right. And they have been
3D
working on
printer.
this stuff before, but the problem is it's really expensive and really complicated to actually make some of that. We've seen some other robotic hands before, but so if you can 3D print it, though, it
Mhm.
reduces that cost tremendously and the difficulty of putting it all together. So that's where the big breakthrough is on this, just that more people could do it. And like you said, I mean, if you had one of these printers at home and you had the designs, you could hit print and make your own. This is a
Mhm.
specific printer that's much more expensive than I think anybody's going to have at home. However, who knows, down the road, this is something that everybody might have in their home.
This is it. I mean, remember when back in the day when the Apple computer was so expensive? I just want to say a quick welcome to Carlos joining us on YouTube Live and Francisco joining us on LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much
Hello.
for giving some shout out and saying hello. It's great to see you both here. Thank you so much for making the time. This is really cool. Yeah, I mean, I give us a show of hands. How many out there watching have a 3D printer at home? Like I certainly do. My son is a big CADer, like he does a lot of CAD programming and whatnot. So he prints all sorts of things. And, of course, it's not to this specification or sophistication, but to be able to do that in the future. Imagine you need something, and like Greg was saying, this is just be so much more affordable. For those of you who are parents are watching us perhaps on Modern Mom, imagine if you could be printing Legos at home. How cool
Yeah,
that would be. It just seems like that's the direction it should go.
it is. I mean, and 3D printing feels like it's, at least as far as, home 3D printing, it was really big there for a while. Then I feel like when the pandemic hit, it kind of tailored off. Some people got them right at the beginning, but then it seems like it's kind of gone to the back burner. This is still going to be a really revolutionary technology for all of us. It's just taking a little bit longer to get out, but there will be a point where I believe, this is my prediction, that we will all have a 3D printer in our home that can print up a lot of the things, just ordinary things that we may not even, that we may go to the store for. You can just print it right there. You have custom parts for anything. You need a new doorknob, you'll just print out a new doorknob. You'll have one right there. That kind of thing is coming down the road. And this is more specifically for this industrial side, but that's pretty impressive too. And what
Yeah.
they're doing right here. So 3D printing is really exciting.
It is exciting. And I'm with you, Greg. I think that the future is going to be like one unit where you can print on paper, you can print
Mhm.
on other materials like that, and it will be one machine, because we're even seeing that with a lot of like appliances that we have in the home where it's
Yep.
coming together. So we don't have more stuff, but it just becomes smarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool. So that was the one I wanted to showcase there. Maybe I'll do a whole thing on 3D printing here for one of our upcoming shows. And we
Yeah.
could just look at all the different cool things that are out there.
Super fun.
That might be a lot of fun. All right, but I do have one more. So we were talking about Thanksgiving, talking about traveling. This is something you don't have to go anywhere to travel for, or don't have to actually leave your home, but you can travel and tour ancient Rome. So this isn't the first time that we've seen something like this, but this is a new version of this idea. And this just came out, I believe, last week. And it's a way to tour ancient Rome. This is, it's called Rome Reborn. So it's an updated version of what they had before, and it's updated by a lot. If you've ever seen one of these before, this is much different. So what you can do is they really have digitally 3D model recreated ancient Rome, what it looked like. And this is using the most up-to-date archaeological information, historical information, topographical information, all of it combined in there to where you can go to this site and you can go on a tour. They even have a tour guide that's for this virtual tour that flies you over and tells you what you're looking at and shows you, just really, really accurate representations of what ancient Rome would have looked like. Now, if you're a nerd like me, this is pretty cool. This may not interest everybody, but I figured there's some more people out there that might be interested in it. And it's pretty fun. I've done one of the tours. I've gone on one of them. There's a few of them that are available for free. There are some other ones you can do that are premium and you have to pay a membership fee. But I love this kind of stuff. Using technology and history, the combination of those two is right up my alley. That's why I like video games that are historical video games. But it's pretty fun. It's pretty neat. And especially, if you're sitting around over Thanksgiving, over the weekend, you're like, okay, I needed just a little bit of a break for a minute. I would suggest checking this out.
I'm definitely checking this out, Greg. This is a great recommendation. Thank you so much. Carlos is on YouTube. I've been saying, nice on that too. I will say this, Greg, as someone who's visited ancient Rome, I think you can't replace the experience of being there in person and seeing everything. But that being said, you really want to pair it with something like this because just like, when you're like, for example, watching Hamilton on Netflix versus watching it live, in the theater, you see different angles and you miss certain things, but bringing this both will give you a great, a more complete picture. I feel like I would want to do this experience virtually first, and then I would want to go in person just to see how it compares. But
yeah,
I think this is only a good thing, and it just brings more parts of the world to us because not everybody can just get on a plane and fly to ancient Rome, and I feel like everybody deserves to see it.
Right. And this is the recreation too of it in AD 320. So it's like you see that. And then, if you did this and then went to Rome and you compare the, what buildings are still there, which a lot of them are, and seeing the differences, it's pretty neat. It's pretty
They
fun.
don't look complete like this anymore.
Yeah. It won't look kind of like that.
Very dusty and white there now.
Yeah, exactly. They also have some other ones. So this is from a company called Flyover Zone, and they make educational software. They've got other virtual tours. You can do the Acropolis. You can do the Tomb of Ramses the Sixth in Egypt. So, and I've tried some of those other ones too. So there are other ones that you can go do like this, where they here's what it probably looked like, and yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. If you're a history nerd, tech nerd, it's
even not a nerd. I mean, it looks cool. Like if you like to travel, I think you'll love this. And I love the idea of going back in history. And they're right. It's very educational. This is something that my kids would, I don't know how much they would enjoy it. They probably would think it looks like a video game, but that's okay.
Right. Yeah. If they could turn that, take all this, give that to a video game manufacturer.
Right.
This is where, that's what I'm in.
Okay. Light bulb moment right there, Greg Nibbler. I love it.
But that's what I have for this week, and it'll probably be a little slow next week, but wanted to just share a few things that I found here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, next week's Thanksgiving, so we're definitely not going to come to you next Friday because we're going to be spending time with our loved ones, and as I'm sure you are as well. And let's not forget, the day after Thanksgiving, which is next Friday, is also Black Friday. So I think there'll be a whole bunch of stuff to take a look at there and make sure this is as your friendly financial person here. Plan ahead. Make sure keep a budget. Don't overspend.
Yes.
You deserve to keep your money in your pocket.
You don't have to buy anything.
Yeah, we want you to have a great life and not have to worry about money. So friends don't let friends get into debt for Black Friday. But Greg, yeah, it is wonderful to see you as always. I hope that you and your loved ones have an amazing happy Thanksgiving. And yes, I'm excited to catch up with you again, like I guess the week after.
Yep, we'll do the week after.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds good. Yep, and happy Thanksgiving to you too and your family. And everybody out there, really appreciate all of you, and it's always so much fun to be here. And we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
yes, and a big shout out to Joshua CrossX Fighter. Happy birthday,
Yes.
buddy! Next
Oh,
Friday.
happy birthday!
Woohoo! So
Yeah.
we got to celebrate you. Let us know what age you're turning. Happy, I guess you got Thanksgiving and you got birthday, got a lot to celebrate. We appreciate you being on the show. We appreciate all of you, and if you could do us a favor and share this show with someone that you
Yes.
care about, especially on social media, and tag at Greg Nibbler at Winnie's Son. And of course, as Greg always mentions, that if you have any stories that you think should be on our radar, definitely send them our way, direct message us or post it, write in comments below, and we'll see it and we'll certainly appreciate it.
All right. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everybody.
Yes, everything Winnie just said, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.